We are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Goal Line Hockey live stream. Welcome to the chat, guys. I know, I was a couple of minutes late. God forbid I had to eat my cheeseburger, but thank you guys so much for your patience. And oh man, since the last time I talked to you guys, a lot has happened. And I see Ali Desh in the chat. I see Urban in the chat. Shout out to you guys. Matthew Savoy. Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on, Matt? He wants to be a moderator here, so he's definitely making his claim. Jesse Slade, he always puts in Buffalo Sabres, red and black jersey. He did that here. What's up, Matt? Um, so I don't even know where to start, honestly. There is so many things that we need to talk about here. So I think I'm going to start with what happened yesterday. I think that's where we're going to start. So the last time we spoke was I'm trying to think, the Leafs trade, right? The Leafs made the trade with the Blackhawks. Jake McCabe, what's this deal? Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty, a couple of those guys, right? That was the first thing we saw. Then from there, we started to see everything else happen. And that's when yesterday, the first trade, of course, it wasn't even that monumental of a trade, but it was Jesse Poyarvi getting traded to the Carolina Hurricanes, and all hell broke loose after that. So the first deal we're going to look at is the Carolina Hurricanes acquiring Jesse Poyarvi for Patrick Pistola or Pistoye. Hold on, guys. All right, so let's get back to what I was talking about. So, the Carolina Hurricanes picked up Jesse Poyarvi. It was a great deal for the Oilers. The fact that they were able to get rid of him without needing to give up assets, doesn't really matter what this Pistoia guy turns into. Nonetheless, it's a win for the Oilers just moving out that salary cap. And you kind of had the sense, all right, what's going on here? What is next for the Oilers making this move? So then we heard a bunch of Capitals trades. Shout out to Toe if he's in the chat at some point. Rasmus Sandin goes to the Capitals for Eric Gustafson and a first round pick this year. So the Leafs pick up a first round pick in this deal. Rasmus Sandin had to leave the ice in Toronto during a practice drill. So obviously, I think Sandin's a little bit upset about that, as rightfully so he should be. Then we have the Marcus Johansson trade. So Mojo is once again on the move as he heads to the Minnesota Wild for a third round pick. A little bit of a steep price, but considering what Johansson can provide, especially in the playoffs, I think Johansson's a good pickup here for the Minnesota Wild. Shout out to Urban. He's a big Minnesota Wild fan. Then we saw the Leafs make another trade. They acquired Luke Shen for a third. That's a great pickup for the Leafs. Again, I think it's a little bit expensive. I think he's a little bit overrated, honestly, but I'm happy that he was able to get out of Vancouver. He's been having some injury issues. He's been having some issues off the ice at home. So I'm glad to see him get a fresh start. I think that's exactly what he needed. And like Urban is saying in the chat, we've also got Gustav Nyquist going to the Wild for a fifth. That's a good pickup there. Again, it's a cheap guy that comes in. He might not even play during the regular season, depending on Gus Nyquist's health. But I like him as a pickup here for the Wild. So they pick up Johansson, they pick up Nyquist. So a couple of good moves there. Then we saw the Islanders, of course, Lou Lamoriello getting involved with a former team. Pierre Engvall goes to the Islanders for a third round pick. I think some people on the Islanders side think that was too much, and I'm kind of in that camp. Others in Toronto think they didn't get enough, honestly, for Pierre Engvall. He's a bottom six guy. He puts up some points here and there, but with the Islanders system, he's a good, aggressive forechecker, and we know how good the Islanders really can be with a guy that's like that. Then comes the trade that I predicted. I told you guys about this past weekend. That's why you guys watch Goal Line Hockey, because I predicted when everybody was saying, oh, they should go for Erik Karlsson, oh, they should go for John Klingberg, which they still might do. We'll get to that later. They go for the guy that I said they should go for, which is Mattias Ekholm. He's a perfect fit for the Edmonton Oilers. They get Ekholm, a 6th-round pick, for Tyson Barrie, Reed Schaefer, a 1st-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. Overall, basically, Schaefer is the equivalent of a 1st-round pick prospect. So a 1st-round pick, another 1st-round pick this year, a 4th, and picking up the contract of Tyson Barrie. So Tyson Barrie, they could even flip him at the deadline because the Predators really aren't a playoff team. So expect the Predators to make another move there. Then we get to the Patrick Kane trade. Patrick Kane goes to the New York Rangers officially with Cooper Zek. The Coyotes retain 25% of the Rangers' salary for Patrick Kane. They get a 3rd-round pick in 2025. The Blackhawks get a conditional 2nd-round pick that could turn into a 1st. 2025 4th-round pick, Andy Welinski, and the signing rights to Ville Saarvi. So the Chicago Blackhawks didn't even get the potential. They aren't guaranteed a 1st-round pick in this deal, which is absolutely insane. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So, of course, I go to bed. And Darren Drager reports that the Los Angeles Kings have interest in a package deal for Vladislav Gavrikov and Jonas Korpisalo. I think Kings fans were actually excited about that, but were worried about the prospects that could be involved. Well, they had a little bit more to worry about, apparently, because the deal ends up being Jonathan Quick and a 1st-round pick going to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Vladislav Gavrikov and Jonas Korpisalo. What's going on, Toe? Welcome to the chat. This trade, I don't know if you guys saw my video from earlier, but when Jonathan Quick got traded, I gotta be honest, I was shocked. The fact that he is about to retire and would have retired a forever LA King, and just weeks, really months before the end of the season, gets traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, players have no trade clauses in their contracts because of this. And I think it's such a shame to Quick, everything he's meant to that LA Kings organization, everything he's done for that team. I think this team is shaken right now. And I think with what happened here, I don't know what their perspective. I think they will be mature about it and this and that. They'll welcome Korpisalo and Gavrikov with open arms. But that is a brutal way to go for Jonathan Quick. They were visibly upset after the game in the locker room. They found out he was traded. Oh my God, that is brutal. And listen, if you want to look at it in the sense for a Kings fan, the deal itself is rather good. The fact they had to give up only a 1st and a 3rd, and Jonathan Quick, of course, but the 1st and the 3rd-round pick for Korpisalo and Gavrikov. If you told me 2 weeks ago, even a week ago, if you told me 4 days ago they got a 1st and a 3rd for Gavrikov, I would have believed you. The fact they had to trade Korpisalo and Gavrikov for that price, I think that really put, the Kings management into a really tough situation. And I think that that's something obviously not ideal, but Jesus, man, that's what we're looking at. And you guys are talking about the chicken trade. We are going to get there, but we got a super chat from PJ. What's going on? Thank you so much, PJ. He gives us $6.99 Canadian. Thank you so much, PJ. He says, Ottawa fleeced the Coyotes. They literally got picks for him, no prospects. Same with DeBrincat, just whatever picks for him. Sens fans should be happy. Yes, PJ, and for that super chat, thank you so much. You're giving the donations here to the soundboard that will be coming in hopefully very soon, hopefully after the trade deadline. So guys, like I said, I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can, but I always prioritize those super chats. So thank you, Jay, very much. So as I was saying, obviously Jonathan Quick, that is a brutal way to go. Like I said, 743 games with the Kings, 370 wins, 2 Stanley Cups, 1 Conn Smythe, 2 William M. Jennings winners. How much more could you have asked for this guy, right? So Shout out to Jonathan Quick. Apparently, the latest report, it's not finalized, but it does sound like Jonathan Quick is going to the Vegas Golden Knights. The deal isn't done yet, but or you guys can let me know, but that is going to be very, very interesting. All right, so let's take a look. So then we got into today. So this morning, I was trying to catch up on all of this stuff, but Lars Eller goes to the Colorado Avalanche for a 2025 second round pick to the Washington Capitals. Overall, I really think this is a good move for the Colorado Avalanche. It was expensive, though. Lars Eller, for all things considered, his best season, I think he picked up 39 points the year they won a Stanley Cup. Other than that, he's never had a season over 40 points in a season. So they get a second round pick for that guy. Shout out to the Capitals. I think that's a good deal for them. But it's not really, Colorado, I think, kind of is binding themselves here. Not a huge fan of that move, but nonetheless, a deal is a deal. So then, non-trade related, Dylan Larkin signs the mega contract we have been talking about. He signs an 8-year, $69.6 million contract, a massive move for the Detroit Red Wings captain, as I think it's Waterford, Michigan native, will be sticking around in Motown for the next better part of a decade. Shout out to Dylan Larkin, 8.7 per season. So again, we're trying to find out the salary cap situation to get this deal done, but Jonathan Quick is likely headed to the Vegas Golden Knights. So stay tuned. So we'll be trying to figure that one out. Now, that wasn't it for the Red Wings. The other day, they signed Jake Wallman to a nice contract, a nice 3-year extension. He'll be there the next 4 years. But they also moved out Filip Hronek. Filip Hronek and a 2023 fourth-round pick go to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for a first-round pick and a second-round pick going to the Detroit Red Wings. Really good deal here, honestly, for the Detroit Red Wings. Considering what Chychrun's price tag was, really similar deal for Filip Hronek. What are the chances of that, right? Like Filip Hronek and Jacob Chychrun end up going for a very similar package in the same exact day. So, listen, we'll talk about that in a second, but Jesus, that is a tough, tough look for Bill Armstrong and the Arizona Coyotes. So the Coyotes were able to garner a little bit more in terms of assets. They traded out Shane Gostisbehere for a third-round pick, a really good pickup for them. It's a move that honestly I think makes a lot of sense here for the Carolina Hurricanes. They looked at John Klingberg over the summer. They looked at him here going into the deadline. Weren't able to get anything done, but I think this is a great deadline rental pickup. Not a huge price tag. They still have their first and second round picks. Shane Gostisbehere comes in for this season, and he's a good puck-moving defenseman. Good pickup. So what else do we got? And then, of course, the trade of all trades today, as Jacob Chychrun goes to the Ottawa Senators for a conditional first-round pick in 2023, a conditional second-round pick in 2024, and a regular, straight-up second-round pick in 2026. Oh, man, that was a big trade. And the fact that the market had dried up on Chychrun, the teams that really were interested, they went out and got their guys, right? Boston went out and got Orlov. LA got Gavrikov. And it got to a point where teams that were willing to make the move didn't have the cap space. And that's kind of ultimately what led to this package, right? A lot of teams right now, a lot of people are saying, why didn't they get more for Jacob Chychrun? Is the salary attached? A lot of money would have had to move out the other way. And again, like a lot of teams that were in the running gave up their assets already. The Coyotes waited too long to make the move. They've waited over 2 years. They ended up getting kind of chopped off. They kind of chopped off their own nose despite their face in a Jacob Chychrun trade. The LA Kings bring in Eric Porteo, who is in the NCAA right now with the Michigan Wolverines. He's the starting goalie there. Wasn't going to sign with the Buffalo Sabres. They pick up a third-round pick, a good depth goaltender pickup for the Kings, and potentially a prospect pool they are developing, trying to get their next starter in LA. Yo, we got a super chat. Shout out to PJ, $6.99 Canadian. Thank you so much again, PJ. He said, I am drinking beers, eating some delicious pizza, and most importantly, watching a goal line hockey live stream. I couldn't have asked for a better day. Shout out to PJ in Calgary. And you're probably not enjoying the Oilers game. They're beating the Leafs 3-1. But shout out to PJ. You are the man. Big money bucks over here, getting us the new soundboard. Thank you so much, PJ. Again, as always. So what else do we have to talk about? And then I'll answer some of your guys' questions. So start leaving some of your questions down below when I'll start to answer them. We did see a couple of trades. You guys are talking about Teddy Bluger. We'll get to that. Vladislav Nemesnikov, kind of a shocking move here by the Tampa Bay Lightning, as Vladislav Nemesnikov goes to the San Jose Sharks, 50% of his salary retained in order to acquire Mikey Isamont. I don't really know much about Mikey Isamont. Vladislav Nemesnikov was a very good player back in the day. And I think what you're looking at now is a guy that's just not really, he's just a shell of his former self. So the Sharks pick up a contract, they pick up another roster spot, and they pick up a guy that can jump into the lineup. And who knows, maybe with more minutes and ice time, Nemesnikov maybe finds a little bit of a resurgence, right? Who knows? So I think that's a good pickup. I'm sure Shaka's happy about that one. And you guys were asking about Teddy Bluger. Teddy Bluger is now a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Teddy Bluger goes to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for defenseman prospect Peter Deliberatore and a 2024 third-round pick. Overall, I think this is a pickup for the Penguins in order to move out that cap space. Don't be surprised if we see that Mikael Granlund deal, which we're going to talk about in a second, get finished up. But Teddy Bluger adds some depth down the middle to the Vegas Golden Knights. I actually had Granlund going to Vegas. I was pretty close on that one, but I was a little bit off because, of course, we have the next package, which was Mikael Granlund, as the Penguins made their splash. They made their move as they acquire Mikael Granlund for a second-round pick. Yeah, Nashville is completely blowing this thing up. This is a game that a move that really just, it makes all the sense in the world for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They didn't have to give up the farm. They gave up a second-round pick that they don't really need. They need help on this team. Mikael Granlund can center to the third line. He could play on the second line on a wing with Geno Malkin and Brian Rust. So I think that's a great pickup overall. Yo, we got a super chat from Ali Desh. He says, for $2.79 Canadian, lose the Devils jersey. This is Ottawa's night. And I wore my Senators jersey the other day, but I will bring out a Senators jersey for you, Ali Dash, because Timo Meier, boo. I was doing this stream to watch Timo Meier in his first game against the Avalanche, and he's not even playing tonight. He's still injured. So obviously, I am not happy with that. So maybe I will be putting on the Senators jersey at this point. Let me know what you guys think. Should I keep the Devils jersey on, or should I throw on a Senators jersey? I'm going to go off of what you guys say. And yo, we got a super chat from Wayne Train. Thank you. That's my dad, guys. So thank you, Dad, for the $20. He has nothing to say, just throwing a little bit of love. Thank you so much. That's awesome. He hasn't been in the chat very much recently. He said a couple of things. I don't think he's very good with this. He does his own live streams, but I don't think he's that good with this stuff. Yeah, shout out to my dad with the $20 donation. Thank you so much. So with that, I think at this point right now, looking at the trades, I think I caught you guys up. Let me know what you guys think of some of these trades. Let me know what you think down below, because things have been interesting. As much as I thought yesterday was insane, today has somehow been more insane with some of these trades, especially the Chikrin one. So what are you guys saying here in the chat? Bukestad, you were so close. I think I missed that one. Timo on Sunday. Hopefully that's from Dennis. Yeah, hopefully he plays Sunday. Yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Should I keep the should I put on the Senators jersey or should I wear the Devils? Let me know what you guys think down below. And of course, yeah, the Devils got on the board. It's Timo Meier. Oh, wait, he's not playing. Unbelievable, man. I guess they want him to play the home game, right? Slap LA. Slap LA. What do you mean by that, Urban? Do you want me to wear the LA jersey? I'll throw on a Ducks jersey if you guys really, really want. Urban said wild because your Islanders lost to him. Yeah, listen, Urban, take the extra point, but let's be honest. The Islanders are 0-5 in the shootout this year. They haven't won since I think it was March 22nd of 2022 in a shootout. That's how long it's been. Yo, we got a super chat shout out to Toe out in Finland. And of course, we see Nathan Bastian score a goal. It might be under review here, but shout out to Toe. He says, who are the Caps trading next? That's a great question because they've made a couple moves here, right? They re-signed Nick Jensen. They traded Lars Eller. The next guy I'd be watching if I was a betting man, watch for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. I think that's the next guy that's on their chopping block, whether they keep him or not. That's my prediction there, Toe. Shout out to you, our Caps fan in Finland, with the $2.49 euro. Or is that what it's called? Euro $2.49? I think that's right. And the Devils, is this a goal or not? Kind of a close call. I got to be honest, that's a close call, and it is a good goal. Oh my God. Yo, we got a super chat from PJ from Calgary. And of course, guys, listen, money talks. $69.99 Canadian. He says, put on that Flames jersey. You're going to get your wish. I'm going to put on the Flames jersey. Guys, I'll be right back. Flames ain't worth it, are they? Yeah. Save your money, PJ. So we got the Calgary wordmark jersey or the Blasty jersey. Which one? Which one do you guys want me to wear? Shout out to PJ. And I might name the soundboard the PJ soundboard because he is single-handedly funding this jersey, this new setup. Shout out to PJ. PJ's a legend. Yes, he is. The Blasty one. Okay, I got you. Guys, which one? The Blasty or the red? Which one? Let me know what you guys think down below. If it's close, I'm going with PJ because he said Blasty. All right, guys, we are back in the Blasty jersey. Listen, money talks, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody can beat the $69.99 Canadian, I'm throwing on the Flames jersey. I'm throwing it on for PJ. You guys want the red, but guys, I got to go. The tiebreaker goes to PJ. And the goal is good. So they reviewed the goal. Colorado reviewed the goal. It's still good. And now Dennis Malgin goes to the box. PJ says it feels good to see you wear that. Feels good to get those super chats, PJ. Shout out to you. And be careful, man. I like you donating and appreciating the channel, but I know you're drinking right now, so don't do anything too outlandish. What's going on, Don? He says, is that the Flames Reverse Retro 1.0 jersey or the new version of the Blasty? This is the first version, the 2020 version. Shout out to Don. Yes, this is the 2020 version of the Reverse Retro. Shout out to you, Don, our jersey expert in the house. Yeah, PJ says one beer keeps the doctor away. Preach. So the Devils trying to add to their lead without Timo Meier. And let's see what happens here. Yeah, let me know what you guys want to talk about here. What's going on, Ange? Urban said, I mean, Colorado loss helps my Wild, but I have Colorado winning the West. Interesting. Don says, why did you get rid of the Devils Adidas jersey on the live stream? Because PJ gave me a $70 Canadian super chat, our highest super chat here on the channel. Shout out to PJ. And that's why I changed the jersey. Listen, you're going to give me $70. I don't care if it's Canadian. I'll switch out the jersey right away. And guys, I'm kind of mad right now that Timo Meier is not healthy and in the lineup. Come on, man. This is messed up. Urban said, yeah, so saw a doctor today. Definitely tore shoulder again. MRI Monday to confirm, then schedule surgery after that. Okay. PJ says, Kev, how much is your soundboard? It's going to be $150 American. But I honestly, with that super chat and the last couple ones you guys have been giving me, I actually think I have the money to get it. At the very least, I'm very, very close if I'm not already there. You guys are coming in hot with the super chats. We haven't even been in here a half hour. You guys are the best. This is why goal line hockey is the best. Not only because of me, because of you guys too. And you guys have a lot of fun in the conversation. And I see the text is scrolling right now. You guys are the best. Yeah, thank you so much, PJ. And I'm kind of mad. I wish I could have seen the end of the Flyers Rangers game. If you guys could let me know, because I was not, unfortunately, able to see the end of the game. Oh man, who was that? That was a big hit. Yeah, Dennis, what's the Rangers Phillies score? Score predictions? Considering the Devils the way they're playing right now, I hate to say it, I could see them coming back. I'm going to say 4-3 Devils. I think it's going to be a close game here nonetheless. Don says the Rangers are losing to the damn Flyers 2-1. Oh my God. Yo, we got a super chat. That's my girl, Ange, saying, how's it going? I'm doing good, Ange, and especially because your Rangers are losing 2-1. And I have to say, on Twitter, I was kind of trolling the Ranger fans. They posted, they were pressing the jersey for Patrick Kane, and I already put like my video promotion and stuff to the channel on Twitter. What was I gonna say? They were showing them pressing his name and number on the back of the jersey, and I said, "Let's go Islanders, Isles," and then like a throw up emoji. And a bunch of Rangers fans got really mad on Twitter, so that was pretty funny. But obviously, they don't watch the channel because I have so many Rangers fans that tell me like, "You are so down to earth." Like, I even have people that are like Leaf fans. They're like, "He's a Rangers homer." I'm like, buddy, have you ever watched my channel? You have no idea what you're talking about. I am not a Rangers homer during the Leafs video. Like, you're insane. These people are crazy. But listen, it got some attention to my channel and my Twitter, so I can't really complain that much, right? You gotta cause what I think it's from PT Barnum said, you know, any kind of attention is good attention, right? Whether it's bad or good, it's attention. You're getting your name out there, and that's kind of what we're looking at with this one. So that's a pretty interesting day I had today with the Ranger fans that were really upset. Hedge says that was mean. Oh, come on. I'm not, I'm just messing with you. I'm never going to be mean to you. Yes, he got his chicken parm for dinner Sunday night. Yes, I did. I have plenty of leftover, tons of Sunday sauce. Everything is perfect. Oh man. Ali Dash, you're getting into trouble, Ali Dash. You don't know what you're doing here. You guys are hysterical. Oh my God, Kevin marry that woman. We'll see. We'll see. We will see what happens. You guys are funny. Yeah, PJ, they're getting themselves into trouble. And Tomas Tatar. It is 3-0 Devils in the first period. Wow. A pretty good start. And Tomas Tatar. 3-0 Devils. Don, did you check your Instagram? Is it yeah, Don, is that on my that's on my goal line hockey account, right? Don, let me know real quick, and I will answer you tonight when I'm done with this stream. Goal line hockey live engagement edition, of course. But I had to rattle off some of the news for you guys. Some of you guys that weren't sure on some. I mean, most of you guys are pretty good. You guys know what's up. But I thought I'd mention it. Wayne Train says, give them a box of tissues. Yes. Yes, it is on your IG, like I told you. Okay. Yeah, Don, after the stream, I will. The next time I'm on Instagram, I'll look at it because I don't usually check my goal line hockey Instagram all that much. But for you, Don, I will check. I do want to see some of those jerseys. Welcome, Morgan. Welcome to the chat. Hey, yo. Yeah, Morgan, you're Golden Knights. Listen, I was right about Barbashev, but everything after that, holy cow, a lot has happened in Vegas and potentially adding Jonathan Quick. I mean, they are just going around the horn. PJ says, Kev, I don't know if there will be much activity on trade deadline day. All of these massive trades are happening before that. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I might be juggling breadsticks and ordering Domino's to entertain you guys because I don't know what I'm gonna do because all the trades have happened already. Urban says, "Who else are the Pens trading? If the Penguins are going to make any other moves, they add in Mikhail Granlund. They're going to have to move out salary. If they're going to make a big, I think that's why they were out on Chikrin. They had to move out Dumoulin or Petrie or Brock McGinn. I mean, Teddy Bluger ended up going out anyway, but they would have to move money. They're similar to the Oilers in if they want to get a player, they're going to have money. They're going to have money coming right out the door. I think that's part of the problem with the Penguins right now. But I don't think the Penguins are done. I could see them making that move, whether it's that's why I think the fact Brock Besser is still available, I think there's still reason to believe they could go that route. They need help on the blue line, but I hate to say it, and I made a video about this earlier. I think Chikrin was a perfect fit for the Penguins. As an Islander fan, I'm happy they didn't get him, but that's really a guy they need help on the blue line desperately. Urban says, who's getting Besser? Like I said, I think the Penguins are right there. I mean, I know Urban, you want Minnesota to get him, but I don't think they're going to make the money work, right? They're the same thing. Minnesota and Pittsburgh, in terms of the salary, it's going to be difficult to get that deal done. PJ says, why would the Pens add Granlund? Bad trade, in my opinion. So, PJ, there's two reasons. Well, it's really one. It's forward depth. They desperately needed a third line center. Like Jeff Carter was not cutting it. Jeff Carter at third line center, not working. So they add Granlund. He could be a third line center, right? Crosby, Malkin, and Mikael Granlund. That's a very good top three lines, honestly. Or if they really want to, they could throw him on the wing. I think the fact they moved Teddy Bluger, they're going to put him at the third line center. But they could realistically put Zucker, who's on the second line with Rust and Malkin, move him to the third line, and then you're able to put Mikael Granlund on the wing with Malkin and Rust. But either way, I do think it's a good trade. And they only had to give up a second round pick. So, like I said, I think Pittsburgh's taking the conservative approach here. I don't agree with that. Honestly, I think they should go all out because here is the cup window open, right? Is Crosby going to ever play with the guy that's drafted in the 2024 or 2025 NHL draft? No, right? So, in that sense, I think the Penguins should be going all for it. But I think that's kind of the spot that the Penguins are in right now. Mantha for Besser, please. I don't know if that would happen, Toe, but I think that's an interesting point. I think Mantha has kind of dropped off a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he's healthy and in the lineup for the rest of the year because that I think has been a problem for him. Urban says Caps seem to be selling. Yes, they are. Yeah, and I think Trevor Van Riemsdyk, which Toe asked earlier, I think Trevor Van Riemsdyk, if looking in the crystal ball, I've been pretty good with that here recently. I think TVR is on his way out. And I honestly think the Islanders would be a good fit for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. PJ says Flames trade predictions. So I actually have a couple here for PJ. I did look. I think I have a mock trade for the Flames. Let me see if I could find it. Okay, so what do you think of this, PJ? What do you think? So now that Tyler Bertuzzi's name has re-entered the chat in terms of trade discussion and maybe the price tag that's available. Now, I have to admit, this is expensive. It's a first-round pick this year, and Connor Mackey to the Detroit Red Wings for Tyler Bertuzzi. What do you think of that? What do you guys think of that move? Specifically, PJ, who's the Flames fan. Connor Mackey and a first-round pick to Detroit for Tyler Bertuzzi. Because right now the price tag for Yzerman is a first-round pick plus. You like it, PJ? I think that's a fair deal. I think he's got like 20, 25 points this year. So, again, yeah, he fits that Daryl Sutter system exactly. And he's that tough guy to play against, a guy that in playoff time, definitely a good fit under Daryl Sutter. He can produce. And the Rangers tie it. Oh, man. All right. So we got a game there. Matt Stein says solid trade. Yeah. Again, listen, guys, I won't be the one to tell you I know every single trade, but I'm going to sit here and tell you right now. I predicted Timo Meier to the Devils. That's kind of that's a layup. Patrick Kane to the Rangers. I kind of predicted that one too. Ivan Barbashev to Vegas. We got that right. Tanner Jeannot to Tampa Bay. Ryan O'Reilly to Toronto. And Matthias Ekholm to Edmonton. Again, the first two were kind of a given, but Barbashev, Jeannot, O'Reilly, and Ekholm, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I got those ones right. Just saying. Morgan said, hey, Kev, I think that Teddy Bluger is a good addition for us, and he can help the bottom six a lot. Exactly. And with maybe getting Jonathan Quickie Mart, Jonathan Quickie Mart, he could get help from our goalies, coach, and maybe do a flurry. I'd be interested to see what happens this summer with Robin Leonard, Morgan. I think they're going to move his salary. Again, this seems like maybe more of a summer, depending on what happens deal. UC Saros to the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I haven't heard even UC Saros trades recently. But if Vegas, depending on what happens this year, keep an eye out for UC Saros for the Golden Knights. Again, not saying it happens, but if they could find a way, I think Vegas would do it. Ali Deshes, I think Bertuzzi would be incredible in Calgary. Yes. Toe said solid if they have extension with it. And that's the issue, right? Because if then that comes up, well, now do you have to throw in a better prospect? And that's the concern I would have, but I agree with you. Yes. Hank Gaming, welcome to the chat, Hank Gaming. Talking about the Habs. We don't talk about the Habs very much here, but we're going to talk about them now because I want to. Hank Gaming says, do you see the Habs doing any more trades? Honestly, I think if you're looking at this as a Habs fan, look at Joel Edmondson, Sean Monahan, and potentially as a team that just wants to add some bottom six scoring depth, Jonathan Drouin. And that's probably nothing you haven't heard already, but I don't see the guys like Dvorak or Anderson or any of the bigger guys getting traded. I just don't see that happening. I think realistically, if it's going to be anybody, it's Monahan, Edmondson, and Jonathan Drouin. But great question, though, Hank. I like talking about the Habs because we don't talk about them much on the channel. Morgan says, I want Saros now. We need him. Yeah, I think it's a great fit. And his salary is really good. But again, you're talking about the price. Nashville is not going to give him up for cheap. And I actually made a mock trade earlier today. I thought Mikael Granlund and UC Saros would be a great fit in Vegas. But again, Vegas would have to be giving up all their first round picks, probably a second, and probably a guy like Brendan Brisson, who is one of their very few prospects left. Vegas has no assets. No, PJ, they have this really good prospect. His name is Brendan Brisson. He's playing at the University of Michigan. He's actually very solid. And like I said, yeah, now they've got next year's first round pick. But yes, very quickly after today, they're definitely losing some of the assets that they've had available. But like I said, UC Saros, again, I don't want to say this and it comes back to bite me, but if there's any link of that, I will let you guys know because I think that is a great fit long term for the Vegas Golden Knights. Because ever since Fleury left, there was the Leonard era. I love Leonard, but he's been injured. And I think that they are going to go in a new direction. And it could start this summer, right? Jonathan Quick is a good, Jay Quickie Mart, shout out to Morgan. He's a great fit for right now, but long term, you need stability in between the pipes. The best teams in the NHL have that stable goaltending, right? Tampa Bay has Vasilevsky. The Islanders have Sorokin. The Rangers have Shesterkin. The best teams in the league have the best goaltenders, and that's how it works, right? Ask the Florida Panthers about what it means having a good goaltender right now. PJ says, I hate the Rangers goal horn. I can't imagine being in their arena with that horrible goal horn. It would hurt my ears. And PJ's trolling me because he knows that I actually, as an Islander fan, actually like that goal horn. Habs and Philly need to do something, and that's from Toe. Yeah, I think that the Flyers, again, unless they're willing to trade Travis Konechny or Sean Couturier, I don't think they're going to be very active. The one guy I will look at, though, Ivan Provorov. His name has been out there a lot, and I don't know exactly what they'd get for him because there's not many people left in the market, especially with that Chikrin trade earlier. I don't know who really wants him. But I think they are still considering moving Provorov. Absolutely. I want to look at maybe the next big player available. If Domi doesn't get traded out of Chicago, which by the day is looking more and more likely, he might not actually get traded. I really do think that is something that we could see here very soon is potentially an Ivan Provorov trade. Hank Gaming, what's going on? He says, who should the Habs go after? And you should watch the Oilers game. LOL. Yeah, I'm watching the doozy of a Devils Avalanche game because that is our featured game. But you guys want to talk about all the trade deadline stuff, and rightfully so, because that's really and Colorado, as I'm about to turn it off, I think Nathan McKinnon just blasted it in. And 13 seconds left. Oh man. Yep, Nathan McKinnon. So a 3-0 lead turns into a 3-1 lead. Yeah, this is a good game between the Oilers and the Leafs, too. Oh, man. The fact that Samsonov is kind of looks like a puppy with his tail between his legs, I can't imagine it's good for the Leafs. Uh-oh. No way. No way. Are the Leafs coming back in this game? They're not showing. They're showing the players coming off the ice. I want to know the damn score. They didn't show it. Guys, let me know the score of this game, the Oilers and Leafs, because I cannot actually see it. Uh-oh, Elliot Friedman's there. What does he have to say? They threw him on for a minute and then took him off. Elliot's a busy man. Oh, man, he had to pretty G move right there. Mid live, he's on live V and then he's got to dip out because something happened. Ali Desh says rumors are that Ottawa is also looking to add center depth targets. Ottawa. I mean, it's hard to get this deal done because you traded all your first round picks. I mean, if you want a cheaper option, Nick Bukestad for the Senators, I think with DJ Smith, that's a pretty good pickup. Hey, welcome to the chat, guys. Welcome to Goal Line Hockey Live. We're talking a lot about everything here with the trade deadline. Oh, yeah. So the Oilers are just kicking the Leafs' butt tonight. So for the Senators, I would look at Nick Bukestad. I think that's really kind of one of the last names that I would really be looking at. And he's playing for the Coyotes this year. That's someone I would look at. I don't think he's really available, but I think Boone Jenner of the Blue Jackets, I know they don't want to trade their captain and they want to get back in the running next year. But if Columbus really wants to get more prospects and futures for this draft, trading Boone Jenner could be an option. I think the Senators could be one of the teams to take a waiver on him. Again, it might cost you a good prospect, but Boone Jenner could be a good option there. But personally, I think more realistically, salary-wise and everything else, yeah, Ali Desh says love Jenner, can't see him moving. I know, but I have heard that a little bit. But I think Nick Bukestad realistically is the more likely option for the Senators. So keep an eye out for that. Hank, I completely misread your thing. He said, do you think the Habs should go after some scoring defenders or goalies? Yeah, so I think goalie, they're going to wait a little longer because they're not in that time zone right now, like in that window yet. I wouldn't be surprised if the Habs took a goalie early, like in the first 2, 3, 4 rounds, and they've got a lot of draft picks, so I think they will go for a goalie or two. But I think I could see them making a move again. With UC Soros and this deal. I haven't really heard anything about it, but I would also look at a guy. What's his name? Dante Fabro in Nashville. If the Predators end up trading him before the deadline, like a very soon trade, that could happen. Your audio went out. Uh-oh. Guys, how is the audio? Let me know real quick if you can. Can you guys hear me? Leave a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. It's fine? Yeah, it might be my connection. Yeah, because my dad's telling me it's not good. I can hear you now. Fine now. Okay, so it did cut out for a second. Okay. Thank you, though. Audio is good. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so for the Habs, I could look at a guy like Dante Fabro. I think that would be a good pickup for the Habs, but I don't know what his price tag is. Alex Carrier in Nashville. There's a couple guys in Nashville that I think could still be moved out, like defenseman wise. McDonough could imagine him going back to Tampa. How crazy would that be? Again, I think the Habs for the most part are going to be done. They're going to try and get a bunch of draft picks from Monahan and Edmondson and stuff like that. Other than that, it might be a little bit quiet. Morgan said, "Hey Kev, how's Ann? She's doing very well, but she's at work tonight, and she almost spun out my truck the other night with no. Oh my god! Thank you, Dad. He said it's good. All right, good." Hold on, guys. So Elliot Freeman's basically saying that we're looking at Ken Holland is still looking to make another move, possibly. And Elliot's saying that the Leafs probably are going to make more moves. Probably not a goalie, though. So he's mentioning that Bertuzzi to the Leafs. Oh man, that's true. We've heard that for years, Bertuzzi to the Leafs. How many years have we heard that, right? Every time his contract is up for renegotiation. Yeah, I know you guys are like, no. Ali Dash says, Kevin, you need to sell your truck and buy a Kia Forte. No way. Ford man for life. Yeah, so this so far has been a very interesting. I mean, obviously it's Sportsnet, so they're going to talk about the Canadian teams. It sounds like Ken Holland may not be done yet. I think they're going after a mobile defenseman. I think there's some debate. Do they go for the Radko Gudis type of defenseman, or do they go for a John Klingberg, right? And I think there is reason to debate that. I think the question is, how much do you rely on Evan Bouchard as a power play guy? Right? So, when I look at the Oilers, I think Ekholm was a perfect fit there. I could see them still going for a guy like Klingberg. I think there is something that they could get done. If they get a third team involved, I think they could find a way to make that deal work. And for the Leafs, I mean, if Bertuzzi ends up going to the Leafs, oh man, there's going to be a lot of pissed off fans. But I think he's a perfect fit in Calgary. I think they have more assets and ultimately will have enough to make the deal work over a deal that the Leafs could possibly give, right? So let me know what you guys think. Ali Josh Gaming said, I did hear what you said when I asked what the Habs should go after. Yeah, so I said there's a couple different things that they could end up doing. Um, but I think there are two defensemen, if you're looking specifically at defensemen, Dante Fabro and Alex Carrier in Nashville. Again, I haven't heard any ties to Nashville and Montreal for those players, but that is something that if you want to look at as again, the Habs have made it clear they're looking for reclamation projects. They're looking for guys that you're a little bit younger and don't cost a ton to acquire, right? Perfect example, Dennis Gurianov, right? There's no guarantee he's going to stay in Montreal and be this great asset. You're looking at the long-term picture, right? And it's not a guy you need to produce right now. If he can play well, great. If not, you didn't really lose much. And I think that's what they're looking at with Fabro and Carrier. Carrier had a great season last year as a defenseman, really raised his stock. Obviously, a down season this year, like everybody else in Nashville. And Dante Fabro, similar story. He just hasn't progressed his development. I wonder playing alongside a guy like Arbor Jack guy, maybe that could be exactly what Dante Fabro needs. But we'll see what happens with that. But that is what I predict for the Montreal Canadiens. For the most part, I think it will be quiet, though. But those are just some outside thoughts I would look at. Bentley Vaughn, yo, what's going on, man? Oh, there you are. Oh, Morgan says, hey, Kev, my friend Bentley just joined the chat. Could you say sup? What's up, Bentley? What's going on, man? He says, what should the Knights do at the trade deadline? I already kind of talked about this, but I hate to say this, Bentley. As you know, of course, your buddy Morgan has been joining us here for the last couple of days. Um, Honestly, I think what you're looking at with the Golden Knights is probably fairly quiet. If they could pick up a defenseman, the fact they were looking at Chikrin, I could still see them going after if there's any defenseman available. I'd love to say Provorov to the Golden Knights, but they don't have the assets. I just don't think they have enough assets to get a guy like Provorov with term, who's a pretty good defenseman. Maybe they could find a way to spin it if they trade a second and Brisson and something else. But for the most part, I think the Golden Knights will be quiet. Now, with that said, depending on what happens with goaltending for the Golden Knights, keep an eye out for UC Saros this summer. Again, I don't know how fond Nashville is of trading UC Saros, but I think that's something that you absolutely have to keep an eye on. And I think the Golden Knights are a perfect fit for Saros. Jeremy Ford Avon, welcome to the chat. And he says, do you think too many trades can disrupt the chemistry of the team, i.e., what the Leafs are doing? That is a great question. And you are right. Yes, it does. Now, it depends on the circumstance. For example, the Kings only lost one player in the trade they made for Gavrikov and Korpisalo. The problem is the magnitude of that one player they traded is very heartbreaking for that Kings locker room right now. And there are certain guys like the Leafs traded Pierre Engvall. Are they going to have a hard time sleeping tonight knowing they traded Pierre Engvall? Probably not. But a guy like Jonathan Quick or Patrick Kane or Jonathan Tays, core guys, those are the ones that when you have problems with them, that's when it becomes more of a chemistry thing. So that's a great question, though, Jeremy Ford Avon. But I think for the most part, I don't think you're going to see a ton of damage collaterally from that, right? Because the main core of this team is, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, right? That's kind of your core. And everything other than that kind of revolves around, just how things are working with the salary cap. So that's a great question, though. JPay86. Hello from Harvey Stump. What's going on, JPay? Morgan said, hey, Kev, you might be a little mad, but my boy Bentley is a Rangers and Knights fan. Yuck. Yeah, boo Rangers. Shout out to Ali Dash. She's coming in with some good stuff in the chat. Guys, make sure to like the stream if you haven't already. It helps us out a lot. Hank says, I hope the Habs do some more trades. Yeah, it's more about what would they trade, right? Like, who really is of value right now in Montreal, right? Like, they just signed Josh Anderson to that mega extension, so it's going to be kind of tough to move him, right? Even some of the other guys on that team, like do you want to trade Arbor Jack guy? Teams will take him, but I don't think the Habs want to trade him, right? So right now, it's the frustrating part for the Habs. It's the rebuilding, letting things go. I could see also over the summer, listen, Jeff Gorton drafted Capo Caco with the Rangers. Depending on the Rangers' cap space, they might not be able to keep Caco. Keep an eye out for the Montreal Canadiens going after Caco. If you want a big name maybe going to Montreal this summer, keep an eye out for Capo Caco. Jeremy Ford Avon says, Kevin and fellow hockey fans, how many teams in the West compared with the East could you see realistically winning the Cup? Yeah, that is enough. Jesus, Jeremy Ford Avon coming in with the heat. He's giving us some really good questions. So honestly, I think when you look at, easily in the East, Boston, right? Boston, the Rangers, the Leafs. You can't ever discount Tampa. 4. I'd like to see Carolina make another move before I say Carolina, but I'm going to say Carolina. So 5 teams in the East, realistically, right? Whoever gets those wild card spots and this and that, the Devils maybe, right? The Devils are in the chase. I think it's going to be 5 teams realistically in the East. In the West, Colorado, Vegas, and probably Edmonton. I think those are my 3 picks in the Western Conference. So that is a great point, right? Because I think some teams are there, but how far will they go, right? LA, Minnesota. I think they're good teams, and there's no doubting they could go on that Cinderella run. But is it realistic? Probably not. Yeah, and I know PJ's upset about Edmonton. Listen, I am very high on that Matthias Ekholm trade. Listen, I get it, but I think that was I really, really do. And if we start to see some of these guys start to come in there and make a difference, yeah, I know. You guys don't like Edmonton. You guys don't think they're very good. I know. And again, the biggest problem with the Oilers is the goaltending, right? And that's kind of the theme for some of these other teams. Like, I mean, depending on how the Kings look with Corpusalo, maybe the Kings go into that stratosphere and maybe they win the division, right? Seattle, it's going to take a lot of work for Seattle. They haven't really done that much. Again, Edmonton needs a goalie. I think they should have made the trade that the Kings made. But again, because of salary cap space, I don't think the Oilers had the ability to bring on Gavrikov and Korpisalo. But that's what they need. PJ says the Knights in Colorado will sweep the Oilers in the playoff series, shut down McDavid, and that team is nothing. Yeah, that again, I think that's all true. That is all fair. But we have seen a little bit of success from, I like Zach Hyman. I think if Kane's healthy, he's a good addition. You guys are going to laugh about this, but I think the Oilers have a potential to do something. Call me crazy. But we'll see what happens. And the Rangers won. Thank you, Matt Stein, for the update. Wah, wah. I'm sure all the Ranger fans will start to attack me on Twitter, but they're going to check out my profile. That's exactly what I need them to do. Hank Gaming says, how far do you see Edmonton going? I mean, yeah, see, now I almost want to buy into the Oilers hype because you guys are so against the Oilers. And Bentley said, of course they won. Of course they did. But that game Thursday, we might have to do a live stream tomorrow night because of Patrick Kane. That is going to be a hell of a game in Manhattan. And I'm hoping I have 2 dates before the end of the season. I might try to go to a Ranger game before the end of the year. I want to see Patrick Kane at the Garden. I got it. Honestly, I'm an Islander fan, and I'll tell you, I made that video this morning, Patrick Kane to the Rangers. Guys, I had goosebumps as an Islander fan. That is as big as it gets. And really, it's more for Patrick Kane, right? Like, Patrick Kane gets to go to the place he wanted to go. You guys are saying I'm crazy. The Oilers only have McOverrated and Draisaitl, and their defense is trash. We'll see. PJ says Draisaitl is the most overrated star player in this league. No offense. Tanner says Edmonton goes 4 rounds on the golf course before the Stanley Cup final. You guys are incredible. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Maybe you guys are right. So the third period has begun. Oilers and Leafs. And Ekholm picked up an assist in his first game. Hank says, do you think Bettman should be fired? And what do you hate about the NHL? I don't like to be so pessimistic in terms of hating. I don't hate things. That is a philosophy of my life. I don't hate things. But in your context of questioning, Bettman shouldn't be fired because at the end of the day, he is the puppet of the NHL owners. So anything that the NHL owners want to be out there and made public and PR related, it goes through Gary Bettman's mouth, but that's what every single owner in the National Hockey League, for the most part, is thinking. So to put it all on Gary Bettman, he says the right things that the owners want, and they're not going to lose him, right? And the Leafs just scored. Mitch Marner, and it's 5-2. This third period could be interesting. And McDavid's in the box. Oh, man, here we go. Here comes the comeback. Oh, man. So yeah, my thoughts on that. I think that I don't really hate anything in the NHL. One thing I would say though, the penalties, the judgment call penalties. I want penalty. If I was the commissioner of the league, I would do everything in my power to make every call as black and white as possible. Right? No, oh, that's a judgment call that could be called, that might not be called. None of that stuff. Is it a call or not? Is it tripping or is it not tripping? Is it a slash or is it not a slash? That's kind of the way I look at it. I don't really hate anything about the NHL, but if there's one critique I have, it would be the way they make some of their calls. The goalie interference, some of those calls are a little bit, there's a ton of gray area. Not a huge fan of that stuff. But great question, though. Ali Dash says historically, Kane has owned the Sens. Always puts up multi-point games against us. I think that's every team. Ali Dash in the NHL. Patrick Kane in his prime was unstoppable. Bentley Vaughn says, "Do you see Boston getting the President's Trophy curse this offseason? You mean in the sense of like them getting beat in the first round? I mean, that would be hysterical. If the Islanders or the Penguins or the Sabres, oh my God, if the Sabres beat the Bruins like in the first round of the playoffs, oh man, they are going to be, I don't know what they're going to do in Boston. They might blow the city down, but I don't think so. Again, I think it's the fact they have so much depth and their goaltending. Like their goaltending is a very strong asset. There's not really any concern of it being hot and cold. It's been hot all season. It's hard for me to go against them. I really think they are a really, really good hockey team this year. Um, Ali Dash, of course, he's a disgusting little weasel, but Bettman has done a lot to help grow the game. Unfortunately, that sometimes comes at the cost of alterating those that are already fans. Oh, alienating those that are already fans. Yeah, to make money. And that's what it comes down to, right? It's all about making the money. Where's the money coming from? Oh, man. Tanner with an interesting philosophy question. He says, if you could control the future, what team does McDavid win the Stanley Cup with? I mean, Tanner, if you know me long enough, I'm an Islander fan. So, of course, I would say the Islanders. But other than that, or the Anaheim Ducks, because that's my second favorite team. I mean, the stupid answer would be the Leafs because he's from there, but I don't want that. I'd love to see him go to Arizona and force the Coyotes to win a Stanley Cup and will them to a Stanley Cup. If Gary Bettman could have it his way, he would do that as well. Or maybe McDavid is the first player to go to the new Houston team, right? At some point, maybe that gets discussed. Maybe he goes to the Houston Arrows or Houston, whatever they become. Hank says, I hate the refs and also that the refs take so long for seeing if it's offside or not. Yeah, that's a huge part of it too. The amount of time for reviews. But I hate to say it, and Ali Dash says worst officiating in sports. I agree, but I hate to say it. Baseball, it seems like an easy oh, and the Oilers scored again. No goal? The ref held up his arms. Why? Why is there a whistle? They blew the whistle. Oh man, that's a rough call. See, as we're talking about bad officiating, the Oilers and the Leafs game, there's bad officiating. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Connor McDavid, listen, who is that? Is that McDavid? Whatever he just did with the puck, I don't know who that guy was. Toe says, gotta go now. Caps game starting. Thanks again, Kevin. Refs, help McDavid. Yeah, it was nice seeing you, Toe. We'll see you again next time on Friday. Friday is our next live stream. Refs help McDavid. I don't know about that, PJ. No goal. And Ali Dash says he's invested so much into Arizona. He's in too deep and can't go back now, or he admits he was wrong and wasted millions of dollars. Exactly. And let's be honest, I have a bunch of their jerseys in the closet. They're incredible. Like, I would be really upset if we didn't get some of those jerseys that the Coyotes have given us. Between all the Kachina jerseys and even the Arizona one that they just released, I don't like the word mark, but it's still a nice jersey. Um, but man, I mean, there's definitely a lot that goes into the whole Gary Bettman thing. And like I said, I that's why I don't even give him too much heat because at the end of the day, he's just a sock puppet. He's not really saying it. And I say that like in a nice way. Like that is what he is. It's not a bad thing. He gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to be a puppet. I think a lot of people would take that job, but he just takes all the rat for it. Ali Dash says Arizona will move to Quebec at some point in the future or Houston. Apparently, Gary Bettman just signed. He gave them a 30-year um, extension. Like he's giving the Coyotes another 30 years. How playing in an ASU arena? I don't know, but that's apparently what Gary Bettman has told everyone. It's a 30-year agreement to keep them in Arizona. Is there a town in Arizona in Texas that happens to be Arizona? Is there like Arizona Street? Maybe they can make that work. But other than that, they're going to be in Arizona. Uh-oh. It's Draisaitl. Everybody says he's overrated. He looks pretty good right now, and he gets bumped off. PJ said Flames might relocate soon if they don't get a new arena. Yeah, that would be tough. Losing another Canadian team, that is the last thing that they want right now, right? The stronghold of Canadian teams. It's just the Canadian dollar compared to the American dollar makes it so freaking difficult. It is really a shame, but uh, you never know with these things. Listen, things move so quickly. They said for years, they said for a decade, the Islanders were going to move to Kansas City, Quebec, and they got the new building, and everybody's completely forgotten that conversation because it sounds stupid because the Islanders are on Long Island. So, again, things have to fall in the right place. The Islanders got new ownership at the right place, the right time, but that's kind of what happens. Yeah, you would be pissed, of course. This is going to be a really interesting third period between the Leafs and Oilers because I think with all the new guys on Toronto, you know, they got to make a statement here, right? Like the first game with all these new guys, they're going to take heat. Like the rest of this season, the expectations are going to be so high for the Leafs this year. PJ says, Kev, you should become a Rangers fan. That will never happen because I got to tell you, PJ, the second my biggest fear, you don't realize this. Think about becoming an Oilers fan. And then the Flames win a Stanley Cup within a year or 10 years of you becoming an Oilers fan. How much like it would I would rather the Rangers win the Stanley Cup than the Islanders winning the cup in 5 years and I become a Ranger fan today. If that makes sense. You can't do that. You just can't. Yeah, take that back, PJ. Oh, he's joking. Okay. But that I think that's a fair point, right? Yeah, I think that's a fair point, right? Like and that's not even like loyalty aside, right? Like if you do that, you look like the biggest goof if they end up winning the Stanley Cup, the team that you gave up on. That is a worse feeling than the Rangers winning the cup. I can't take you guys so seriously. That's my problem. You guys are awesome though. Still, nonetheless, it's a good question. And O'Reilly, whoa. O'Reilly getting so look at that. O'Reilly, Lafferty, like a completely newly built line in Toronto. Toronto is buzzing right now. And this is the third line. The Leafs third line is dominating the Oilers. Oh, he fell. Liljegren, he took a dive. I don't think he took a dive, but he definitely took a rough hit into the boards. Yeah, I don't think Drew Shore meant to hit him. PJ says, Kev, what's it like in MSG? Honestly, guys, it's really nice there. The first time I went there was for a PBR professional bull riding in a couple of years back. But now that I've been to the Garden a couple of times for Ranger games, I went to a playoff game last year. There aren't many better places for playoff hockey than MSG. It is really, really nice. The venue's nice. They have the Garden Burger, which is incredible. It's got like this like onion jam on it, something like that. They have really good like pulled pork sandwiches. The Garden's got it. And their food is actually cheaper than UBS Arena, which is the Islanders' home. It's actually cheaper food at the Garden, which is kind of surprising. Hank with a great question. He said, "Are the Leafs passing the first round this year?" Listen, all my predictions might be out the window because I predicted Ekholm and all those other guys that would get traded. The idea of the Leafs getting past the first two rounds, the amount of earth-shattering movement that would have to happen for the Leafs to like think about it. They have to play the Leafs. They have to play the Lightning in the first round. And if they get past the Lightning, then they have to play the Bruins. Then they play the best team in the Metro. Then they play the best team in the Western Conference. I think if somebody in the Atlantic Division wins the Stanley Cup, you have all the accolades because if you are able to win a Stanley Cup out of the Atlantic this year, it is going to be totally, utterly deserved. It is going to be so difficult to get through those first two rounds. A bunch of teams are going to be disappointed in the Atlantic this year. Two of those three teams will be out by the end of the second round. The Oilers coming back a little bit. Yeah, pulled pork, amazing sandwich. Yes, it is. Especially from the Garden. It is like very, very good. Hank says, could the Abs go back to back this year? Considering the Western Conference in general this year, honestly, yeah, I think they could. I think they're a team to look at for sure. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll own my own NHL team. We'll see how that goes. What would you guys think if I were to do like a GM mode over the summer? Would you guys be down for doing like a GM mode commentary? What would you guys think of that? Let me know. PJ said he would love it. Some NHL 23 content. Maybe I'll get it for $30, right? I haven't played Xbox in so long. It's like buried under my bed. But maybe that's something. Listen, if we could get more of a live stream, I think I would do that. And you guys know how much I love the trade stuff, right? Like I always look for does this guy fit and this and that. Like I think it would be perfect. Who's your favorite Canadian team? From Hank. Um, who is your favorite Canadian team? You want me to say Calgary? It is not Calgary, and he's probably going to hate my answer, but I'm probably going to go with the Oilers. I used to like Vancouver until I realized how annoying and kind of bitchy their fans are. I really am not a fan of Vancouver anymore. Vancouver and Toronto in particular. Ali Dash says, I have zero interest in watching someone play video games. All right, I'll consider that. Looks like I'm gonna have to chug some beers to process that answer. Yeah, Canucks fans, I don't know what's wrong with the people there. I've never been there, but they always seem the most like whiny and the most like I don't know. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but it just seems like Toronto and Vancouver are the most. I think a lot of it has to do with politics, but I am not a fan of those two cities in particular. And if I were to go on a Canadian road trip, it would either which Montreal isn't much better, but probably Montreal or Calgary, Edmonton. I think if I'm going to take that kind of trip, I'd do Edmonton and Calgary together, but that's what I'm kind of looking at. PJ said they destroyed downtown when they lost in the Stanley Cup Finals. Canucks fans are the worst. Ellie Desh says, I've been there. I have family there. Too many hippies. That's why they're whiny. No love for Ottawa. I don't know enough about Ottawa, Ali Dash. Is it far enough away from Montreal and Toronto weirdness where I'm not going to see a bunch of weird stuff going on, then I'd consider that too, right? I don't know how far Montreal and Ottawa are from each other, but I'd assume it's like a 4 hour, right? Is between Montreal and Ottawa, is it like 4 to 6 hours between the two of them? I could maybe do that. That's why you need to come here. PJ says in Canada, Vancouver and Toronto are the most expensive cities to live. Yeah, so probably that's part of the problem too. And I think like Edmonton and Calgary are more like the agriculture, farming, Western Canadian, the classic quote from Don Cherry, the classic, you know, good Western Canadian boy, right? And I think that's a lost art in cities like Toronto and Vancouver. Ali Jess says, take an hour and a half to drive to Montreal. Yeah, okay. That's even better. I thought it was a lot further than that. And we got to fight Ryan Nugent Hopkins and Justin Hall. What? And Nuge takes him down. Ryan Nugent Hopkins takes down Justin Hall. Holy cow. Wow. Wow. Attaboy Nuge. That's incredible. Nuge and Hall. Wow. With the takedown, nonetheless. PJ says, fun fact, everyone from Toronto and Vancouver are moving to Calgary. The problem with that is, PJ, we're having that in the States where a lot of people in New York go to like the Carolinas or Florida, and the same politics that they hated and voted for in New York are all going down to those places. So I'm actually avoiding those places that all these people are going down to because they're voting in the same stuff that they didn't like in New York. So that is something I would watch for, PJ, but we'll see how things go long term. Jeremy Ford Avon says Ottawa and Montreal are a couple of hours apart driving. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Ottawa to Toronto takes 4.5 hours. Okay. Hank Gaming says, do you see Dubois going to Montreal? Of course, because you're a Habs fan. Yeah, I think he's made that very clear. I think he's gonna try and play well and get that good contract, and I think the Habs want him. That's a good center to add to your group, if nothing else, right? At the very worst, if he's a third line center, that's a good pickup, right? So yes, I think Dubois goes there. Yeah, PJ says New York is very expensive. Yeah, it's very, very expensive. Ali Desh says Calgary's cost of living is super low compared to other Canadian cities. Probably because it's still maybe there's parts that are a little underdeveloped that they're like starting to build up, and that might be part of that. And people get taxed a lot in New York. Yes, that is very true, PJ. Ali Desh says, and Alberta has basically no provincial tax at all. Ottawa to Detroit takes about 9 to 10 hours. Okay. Oh, it is very developed. Okay. Yeah, because that's something I know. Like a lot of people are trying to get like people down to Tennessee or the Carolinas, and they're very underdeveloped, and they're trying to draw people in there with very low, rates and stuff like that to try and kind of build things up. Calgary is beautiful. Yeah, I that's Alberta is Canada's Texas. Yeah, that's kind of how I've looked at it. And that's why I really have considered if I do go to Canada, it probably would be Edmonton and Calgary first. Sorry, Ali Desh, but I think that's really where I'd look first. Head to head tonight. Connor McDavid with 2 goals, 3 points. Austin Matthews is slacking. He's only got 1 goal. Hank says, how many years till Montreal wins another cup? Oh, man. I'm going to say 5 years. I would say, what is it, 2022? 2028? Somewhere around there, maybe even 2030. It might take a while. They just started tearing things down and starting to rebuild it up. Like I said, 2027, 2028, that time frame, those 2 years. Keep an eye out the next couple of years. Habs will win another cup in 2093. Yo, Ali Dush. I would be 93 years old if that was the case. The 100-year celebration. Lovely. We got a penalty. Hyman goes down. The Leafs are on the penalty kill. Oh, PJ says my cousin is a politician in Ottawa. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, that's a trip. PJ says Kev for president. Hank says, who's better, McDavid or Matthews? And do you see Matthews leaving Toronto? So as of tonight, I mean, McDavid's got 2 goals, 3 points. So I would say tonight he's doing better. Um, I mean, McDavid's the best player in the league. I think Matthews is right there. This is not a discredit to Matthews, but Connor McDavid is the best player in the National Hockey League. There's really not much debate. You guys could say Oilers are not good, this and that. You have your argument. McDavid's the best player in the league. And do I see Matthews leaving? Depends on what's available to him. Like if he wanted to go to Vegas or Arizona, that's a good one. If he wanted to go to the West Coast, like I said, I think Vegas would be super interesting. But again, it's got to be the right circumstance. And I mean, it depends on how devoted he is to Toronto, or is it really all about the money? If it's really all about the money for Matthews, he'll leave. Similar to what we saw with Larkin. If he was really dead set on making over $9 million a year, he could have got that on the open market. Not with Steve Yzerman. He could have gotten that. But that's, again, depends on what his mindset is. PJ says, put McDavid in Toronto and they still wouldn't get out of the first round. I love that. That's a good one. Morgan Riley comes up a little banged up. I don't know what happened. And now Zach Hyman's going to the box. I don't know what happened there. Ooh, Yamamoto got a big hit behind the net. Yeah, that's a tough call. Tough call. So I believe, yeah, so it's 4-on-4 hockey for the next 37 seconds. That should be pretty good. O'Reilly he won the faceoff and then lost it. PJ said this may be a hot take, but if the Flames make the playoffs, I think they are more built to make noise than last year's team. I 100% agree with you. The only way they make the playoffs, though, is they need Markstrom to be a goaltender. They need Markstrom to be better. But absolutely, that's how that's how I view the Islanders. Like they're a team that struggles to get into the playoffs, right? We talked about the LA Kings the other day. When they won the cup as the 8th seed, that team wasn't a good regular season team. They were 8th seeded. But they won the Stanley Cup because of the way they play, the way they grind teams down in the playoffs. The Calgary Flames and the Islanders are a lot like that today. How sick would that be? Flames Islanders Stanley Cup final? Oh man, people would lose their mind over that. The Islanders are boring, the Flames are boring, this and that. That would be hysterical. It's like 1-0 Stanley Cup final game 7. The whole series is like 7 goals through 7 games. It's 1-0 every game. PJ said, Kev, we would be enemies for a bit if it was Flames versus Islanders. Yeah, we would be. But I think it would be kind of interesting. Just to piss off the rest of the league, like, oh, those teams don't score enough. They're too boring. They play too much system defense, this and that. And then the Islanders and Flames go to the final. That would be, and then every team in the NHL would want to be like the Islanders and the Flames moving forward. That's exactly what happened after the Bruins won the cup in 2011. Every team wanted to be the next big bad Mila Lucic, Sean Thornton. I'm trying to think who else was there. Johnny Boychuk, Zdeno Chara, Boston Bruins. Everybody wanted to be the Bruins. So now Nylander goes to the box. There is just a ton of penalties going on. Jesus. Yeah, Keefe is mad, but I don't know, man. I think it wasn't. I don't think it was that playing with his wheelie. Yo. Samsonov did not know where that puck was. Yeah, this has been a physical game. A lot going on in this one. 4:39 left. This has been a good game. But I think after this game, we're going to call it quits because I'm not really that. I'm not. Okay, we can watch a little Carolina, Vegas. I know if Morgan's still in the chat. No, I can't get the Golden Knights Hurricanes game. Damn, that sucks. I called it. So the Devils Avalanche game is 5-4. Pretty close game. I think the Devils did so well in that Timo Meier trade. Like we talk about how bad of a deal the Chikrin one was. The fact they didn't have to give up Dawson Mercer or Alexander Holtz in the deal. Oh no, here we go. We got to fight. Lars Eller's first game in Colorado. Things are getting a little bit chippy in the Mile High City. They didn't have to give up Sharon Govich. They didn't have to give up any of those really good prospects. Fabian Zetterlund has been good, but unless Shakir Mukhamadolan turns into a top four defenseman, that's a win. That's a major win for the Devils. And he'll also be wearing number 96 in New Jersey, which we won't see yet. Unbelievable. And the Ducks score. Who was that? Yeah, Troy Terry. So it's 1-1. Yeah, this is a huge road trip for the Capitals. They're on the road. They're on their West Coast road trip. They got the Ducks. I think the Kings, right? It's the Ducks tonight. Can't really see their schedule. Trying to, but oh no, Miro the hero. Did Heiskanen just win the game? Did I just miss one? Oh, I think so. Heiskanen scores. Oh, that is such a fluky goal off Christian Fischer, off the goalie into the net. Oh, that's a tough break for the Coyotes. Man, that's been the story of the year for the Coyotes. But Dallas finds a way. So a 3-2 lead in the third period in that one. Oh. So now the Oilers are on a power play, 5-2 lead. I assumed there was going to be another penalty, maybe not. Happy to see Terry get on the board. Shout out to Troy Terry. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Nothing? Ali Dash says, Kevin, do you have a team that you like that you don't like admitting that you like? That's a good question. It doesn't have to be hockey, so that helps a little bit. Welcome back, Morgan. Um, that's a really tough one. You kind of put me on the spot there, Ali Dash. Morgan, I was trying to do the Golden Knights Canes game. I couldn't though. Let's play NHL 23 sometime. Maybe I'll do a GM mode. Maybe Ali Dash will watch from afar, but we'll see what happens with that. Maybe I'll play NHL again. Who knows? But Morgan and PJ making their own team. That's awesome. Um, favorite team. I don't know, man. You really a team that I want to hate, but I like. All right, this sounds a little weird because it's football, college football, but I'm gonna say the Texas Longhorns. I think everybody hates Texas. That's my second sport. I would say if it's not hockey, I know a lot about college football. I've actually made a channel about it in the past, Goal Line Sports. You guys could check it out. It didn't really go anywhere. I just didn't have it in me. I didn't want to talk about the recruiting and stuff like that, but I do know a lot about college football. I did try that. PJ says, "What game modes do you play?" I a very little bit of Hut, but really it's GM mode. I love making the trades, signing guys, trying to make it realistic. That's my favorite thing. I like making new teams. I make like jerseys and stuff like that. I like doing all that stuff. Ali Des says I won't be watching. Honestly, Hut Shell, ESCHL, be a pro, and franchise. Yeah, franchise, whatever it is now. Be a GM mode, franchise mode. That's my favorite mode. PJ says, Kev, if the Rangers win the cup, how pissed would you be on a scale of 1 to 10? I think the I think I would piss off Rangers fans because I wouldn't be pissed off enough. And that's the best thing I think I could do is the what is that called? Trying to think of the word for it. Yeah, Ali Dash. I only play franchise mode. Um, Indifference is the most powerful way to negate it, right? So if I don't care, I think that's the best way to fight it. I honestly like it's hard for me because I like Adam Fox. He's from Long Island. He's a Long Island native. The way he got to the Rangers was a little unscrupulous, but listen, the NHL didn't stop it. And honestly, like I said, I think that that's just something that it happens, right? I think it would put a lot more pressure on the Islanders to win a Stanley Cup, though. If the Rangers now win 2 cups since the Islanders dynasty, that'll be a tough look for the Islanders. Ali Dash says, and I sim almost every game. I'll play a game 7 when the playoffs roll around, or sometimes I'll play the home opener. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I'll do that. But honestly, I let it simulate because I want the like I used to do just the third period of games and play, but I think I play the game like I played on rookie or pro. So I make sure I win. I don't want to throw the remote controller, right? So could see Corey Perry going back to the Habs. That would be really interesting, Hank Gaming. I'm probably going to be finishing up here, guys. So make sure if you haven't already, make sure to like the stream. Helps us out a ton. We're trying to get past that 30. Last we had the most likes I've gotten in a live stream was 30. We got up to 20 yesterday or Monday, but a little bit less success today. We were pumping earlier, but things have slowed down a little bit. If I was an NHL player, I would be the best fighter, black belt in jiu-jitsu, and can throw some punches. Well, goddamn, PJ, gonna be watching out for you. Morgan says I could see Perry going to finish his career in Anaheim. As a Ducks fan, I would love to see that. Thoughts on Mark Bergevin and Oilers won? Yes, they just I'm watching that now. I think Bergevin was he was a polarizing figure, very obviously, right? Um, he made some good trades, but because of his aggressiveness, it also came back to bite him a lot too. Perfect example, Drouin for Sergachev. That trade backfired. That was a terrible trade. Shea Weber for Subban at the time looked like a bad deal for the Habs, but it turned out to being a Stanley Cup final in 2021. So, as much as that Weber deal didn't look great, he did get them to the Cup final, right? So, there's certain things that Bergevin did that you love, but there's also a lot of things to hate. And I think it got to a point where the hate started to outweigh the good things, and that's ultimately what did Bergevin in. In a city like Montreal, you can't have a lot of hate and a lot of bad trades and signings and things like that. Morgan says, Ellie Dash, just throw a kick with your skate and hit him with your stick. That's great. Bergevin was awful, and that's why he's my favorite GM in Montreal history. Shout out to Ellie Dash. All right, I think that's it tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys didn't already, make sure to like the stream. It helps us out a ton. And I'm very excited because the next time I'll be speaking to you guys live will be this live stream coming up on the NHL trade deadline at 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday, March 3rd. Guys, I'm looking so forward to seeing you guys. It's going to be very exciting, a lot to talk about. Just with what's happened in the past 2 days, we might end up talking a lot more about what happened the last 2 days, but we'll see what happens. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.